It is 20 minutes to the top of the hour here, and you're looking live at the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia this morning, courtesy of EarthCam, of course. It is playing host to the second presidential debate this election cycle, but with a much different political landscape. The race is now razor thin, with Kamala Harris at the top of the Democratic ticket. Former President Trump and Vice President Harris are within 1% of each other in 6 battleground states. That's according to Decision Desk HQ. Joining me now is political commentator and host of So What on YouTube, Chris Cillizza. Chris, I know you were also gearing up for a big day, a long night ahead. The New York Times calling tonight 90 fateful minutes for 2 candidates and 1 network. Chris, this is a major moment for ABC News tonight, who's hosting and moderating.
Markie, of course. I mean, look, there are only 4 people on that stage: Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, and the 2 moderators from ABC, right? No one else really, other than the production staff, will be in the room because there's no studio audience for this debate. Moderators always play a role. Sometimes it's larger, sometimes it's smaller. It's almost always, in this kind of modern media environment, controversial. But I do think you have to look at the most important thing when you think about moderators in a debate that Donald Trump is in is how much or how little fact checking that they do, because that's the critical piece. We know he's going to say things that are either at best exaggerations, at worst outright lies, and the question is, how do you as a moderator and a network handle them?
And you know, kind of piggybacking off that point, what kind of role do you think fact checking will play in tonight's debate? And are you an advocate of that happening in real time for every single thing both of these candidates say?
So my guess, and it's an educated guess, is that ABC will take a similar approach to what CNN did in the June 27th debate, which, if you think back, the moderators, Dana Bash and Jake Tapper, did not really aggressively fact check Donald Trump. Now, we thought that was going to be a huge thing going into the debate. It wound up not really being a big deal because Joe Biden was so bad that was the whole story. Personally, I think it is really the other candidate's job, Kamala Harris in this situation, to use her time when she feels it appropriate to say, that's actually not true. Now, are there
or
big
the other way
things
around
that I think the media should fact check? Yeah, I think there are. If Donald Trump says the 2020 election was stolen, right, we're talking about democracy at that point. And I think maybe you don't need to interrupt them, but I think you do need, before the conversation moves, to say, look, there's no evidence of widespread fraud in the 2020 election. You filed 60 plus suits, all but one of them, which was a technicality in Pennsylvania, was dismissed either by the Supreme Court or lower courts, and then move on. If you get into a back and forth with Donald Trump over whether or not the election was stolen, he's never going to admit it was free and fair. And I don't think you're serving the public by just focusing on that one thing the entire time.
Also, we know that questions are swirling from the right over ABC's impartiality. We know Vice President Harris is a longtime friend of Dana Walden. She's a top boss over at Disney, whose portfolio, of course, includes ABC News. Should this concern American voters who are watching tonight and wondering, how fair is this?
I don't think so. Look, I've never worked at ABC, so I can't testify to it. But I worked at the Washington Post and at CNN. There were plenty of people at those places in the high end, particularly on the business side, who were friendly with candidates of both sides. I never once felt or saw any evidence of trying to put a thumb on the scale. I really think this is Donald Trump working the refs, candidly. He does this all the time. Sometimes it works better, sometimes it works worse. But I think, look, ABC has a long record of impartiality on the news side. And I think when we undermine the sort of free and fair media, people who are working every day to try to get it right, and I very much put ABC in that, I don't think we do a service.
All fair points.
I think you can absolutely trust that the moderators will do their level best. You may not love their approach, but I don't think it's based on any top-down bias.
Yeah, well, we'll see what the headlines say about all facets of tonight. The candidates, the moderators, what those headlines look like tomorrow. Chris Cillizza, thank you as always for joining me. Appreciate it, sir.
I'm excited. Can't wait.
We are too. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.